Welcome to Mallet and Michelle on Dripping Springs, hosted by me, Michelle Lewis, and Steve Mallet.
Well, hello, Michelle.
Mallet.
Do you like my radio voice?
I like your radio voice, Steve.
Hey, who's our guest today?
Our guest today is Orit Mann, and she is one of the owners of Driftwood Dugout. Super cool little sports bar.
And Driftwood Axe House.
Yeah, Axe House. Yes,
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, you know what? Why don't you get your face printed up, and so I can practice my axe throwing.
You get a bullseye every time. Every time.
I'm gonna work on it. It.
Hey, I'm real excited.
Oh gosh, why? What do you have?
The Zilker train is back.
Did you ever even ride the Zilker train?
I've ridden that train many times.
I have too. And there was like some creepy old guy that used to
drive the train. Woo woo. It seemed like it's been like 10 years since it's been shut down. It's been shut down for a long time.
I think I took Kendall and some Dripping Springs cheerleaders when they were in middle school out there for some reason, and it was like one of the last time, and it was sketch.
Well, yeah, the last track was the last train and track. I guess it's new train, new track. They're bringing it back.
New train, new track.
New track. They're testing it right now, and it's a shorter loop. I don't know if you remember. It used to go down all the way and cross the trail and then turn around, so you don't have it where, because now that trail is actually pretty heavily trafficked now, and if it crossed the trail, there'd be a lot of people that would have to stop and wait for the train. But now it turns around at Lunef, and it's got a little like train terminal and all that. So it's probably going to be $50 to ride the train with you.
I was going to say, do you remember? I think it was like $3 or $2 or something like that.
It was pretty cheap. Do you know what it is to? We've talked about this before. Do you know how much it costs to go into Barton Springs as a non-Austin resident?
I do not, but I have a funny. So, how much is it?
$9.
Okay, so
a family of four is going to cost you almost $40 to go swimming in Barton Springs.
On TikTok, there's like this whole pay side, poor side, and they have Barton Springs. It's like the pay side, poor side, and they compare the two. And then on the pay side, that's where those guys are standing there and they're holding up the signs.
That was pretty funny, yeah, for the people jumping off the diving board, giving them dive scores.
You know, speaking of Barton Springs pool, have you ever met a woman by the name of Flo at the pool?
No.
Actually, it's a 100-year-old tree that sits there.
Oh, it hangs out over the water.
It hangs out over the water. It also, I guess it leans on...
they have a metal pole holding it up so it doesn't topple over into the water, I think.
Maybe I didn't write it down. It says it leans on something. I don't know.
It's a metal pole. It goes down from one of the branches hangs out over the pool, and this metal pole, it's like a 4-inch metal pole, goes down to the deck, the concrete deck.
Here it is.
To hold it up.
Yep. Since 1928, the tree has leaned on the deck of the pool, and ropes and wire and such now support it. But I have some bad news. The tree is now been infected with brittle cider fungus.
I saw that they had it. We were down there Saturday, and they have it roped off. You can't walk underneath it.
The tree and the area around it are now restricted. A lab at Texas A&M diagnosed it. Unfortunately, there is no known effective treatment.
That's terrible.
This whatever disease or whatever it has, it feeds on the tree's live tissue, and eventually the tree will collapse under its own weight. If the removal is necessary, they will obviously honor it somehow, but they're waiting on an arborist to recommend what to do with it.
That's very sad. I didn't know what was going on. I thought maybe there was something broken, like concrete chipped up on that section underneath the tree. But that makes sense now.
Her name is Flo.
I will tell all my friends to honor Flo when we're at Barton Springs.
So, yeah, I thought you'd find that sad.
Hey, do you use Yelp much when you go look for a restaurant?
I do and I don't.
Do you like Yelp?
I do and I don't. I do and I don't.
Yeah, I know. It seems very manipulated to me for some reason. I know the people that pay to advertise on Yelp mysteriously do better in the rankings than the people that don't pay for their advertising. But Yelp just came out with the 2023 top 100 places to eat in Texas. And believe it or not, 21 of them are in Austin.
Okay, I will tell you which ones I've eaten at, because you only eat at one place, Jack Allen's. You don't go.
I've eaten at Taco Deli.
Okay, Taco Deli and Jack Allen's. Those are your two places that you eat at.
I've been to some other places.
Only by force.
That's true. That's true. I'm a creature of habit. Yes, that's been well established.
Okay, so if you're ever going to go out to lunch with Steve Mallett, besides Pigpen, this is what Steve Mallett orders.
Pigpen is a good one.
Yes, but he orders a chicken sandwich, no onions, no cheese, no French fries, a side salad with no croutons, no cheese, no onions, and ranch.
That's sad, Michelle, that you know that, and that's exactly what I would get. That's sad.
Okay, so tell
me
outside.
I'm not going to go through all these. I'll tell you the two that I've heard of.
Okay.
And actually,
I want to peek and I want to look at your list.
I'll show you the list. The only two I've heard of is Home Slice Pizza, which was number 98.
And you know, Home Slice, the whole claim to fame about that is they used to bring their water in from New York or whatever, but I don't think they do pizza? That. Yeah, the dough. Okay.
Interesting. And I've heard of Bird Biscuit, which I think is in North Austin, which is like biscuits on
a bird,
chicken on biscuits. Yeah,
just biscuits on a bird.
Yeah, Jim's Smokehouse. Never heard of that. Bee's Kitchen, Cajun Skillet, Arapitas, Dies, Thai Cuisine, Quantos Tacos.
I eat out a lot.
These are the top. These are all in the top 20. 16, 18. Asian Fusion is at number 17. Max's Fusion and Bar.
So
never heard of any of this.
This just goes to show you that Yelp, these people probably have a paid account
They're
with
all
Yelp.
Advertisers.
And that's
Taco Deli's not on there. I mean, Taco Deli to me is an icon in Austin.
No, it doesn't look like any of the domain
Torchy's
restaurants.
should be on there, right? I mean,
I hate Torchy's.
Well, I'm not a super big fan of Torchy's, but it's one of those places when you come to Austin, you got to try it, right?
Well, I guess so. I mean, they have a Torchy's in Dallas.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm pretty sure born and raised in Austin.
My favorite Mexican food restaurant, and I'm going to say it, and if you guys mess it up for me, because this is my favorite, because I go and they're so busy, is Habaneros is my absolute.
That's the one off of Old Torf?
Old Torf. It is cash only, hole in the wall Mexican food. It's like if you're looking.
The best.
If you're looking for not Austin Mexican food, which like Chewy's. If you want good Tex-Mex Mexican food, Habaneros are right. Habaneros is and Chinese food. How.
That's the one off of Manshak?
Westgate and Manshak. Yeah, that's the one I took you to.
Actually, you've taken me there twice, and both times it's been fantastic.
Hole in the wall.
And they're very, very nice.
And they're very hole in the wally. Yeah. Okay, so I have some other breaking news. The Austin police chief is retiring the first part of September. Joseph Chacon, I think that's how you say his name is, Chacon. After 25 years at APD.
You'll get it. You'll get it.
Austin Police Department. He's only had a 2-year stint tenure as the chief. And APD Chief of Staff Robin Henderson will serve as interim police officer while the search takes place. But hopefully, maybe they will assign her. She's a wonderful person. But his time there in the Austin Police Department has been plagued with, we all know, defunding the police, ongoing staffing issues by hundreds of officers.
I heard they're down like 400 officers from what they consider their max capacity.
Ridiculous. There's some cadet academy changes that are going on, how they've politicized the divides between city council and the police union. But then he's also credited with APD in this like 10-day video release policy. Like if there's a police shooting or something like that, they'll release it within 10 days. The police sexual assault investigations, apparently he's accredited with that. And then increased focus on racial equality in policing. But I hear from many, many, many people, actually my neighbors won't even go downtown anymore at all because they are very scared.
It's actually getting pretty wild. And who would want to be a police officer anymore? I saw a video on Instagram. It was, there's these, and it's happening in Austin too, where like in the middle of the night on social media, somebody will post, hey, there's I don't know what they call them, but a bunch of cars will get together. There was one at Barton Springs.
The drag racing that they're doing?
Well, it's not drag racing. They're doing donuts in the intersection, and they'll have loud music.
Yes. And
there'll be like 500 people there dancing and lights flashing, and they'll do it until the cops show up, and then they all run off. So I think this was in Atlanta, And they were doing, it was broad daylight. They were doing that at this intersection, and there was this truck doing donuts, and the cops showed up, and this guy in this truck just took off through the crowd, ran over like six,
I saw that.
literally ran over like 6 people. And the cop went through the crowd that had cleared and ran this guy off the road and got out of his car with his gun.
I saw that.
And I read if you read some of the comments, there were legitimately people that said, wow, that cop's out of control. Look, he's so mad. He's got his gun drawn. And
he just ran over 6 people.
I know he just ran over 6 people. He was saving lives. But who wants to be a cop where every move you make is second guessed by some hack on the side that wants to inject their beliefs on the right or the left about how police should behave. It's sad, and I don't know how we get the police force back to the max capacity. We need more officers. We don't need less. And we need people being arrested when they commit
Absolutely.
crimes.
I just spent the weekend in San Francisco, and I left my
the poop capital of California.
The poop capital of the world. And I left my sweater in the car, and Tate took my sweater out of the back seat and stuck it in his 4Runner in the trunk. And I said, why? And he goes, Mom, you don't understand. If they see anything in your car, and sure enough, we were watching videos that if they see suitcases or whatever, they get out.
They break the window.
They break it, they grab it, and they go.
I've noticed a lot of the places we go in Austin, in the parking lots, and I saw it 2 weeks ago in Barton Springs, broken glass on the ground. And I know that's what it was. Somebody parked their car there and somebody saw something in and they busted the window.
That's been happening for years and years. I remember my husband, he used to work kind of down over where the old Toys R Us was in that business park down there. And boy, they would say the same thing. They called Chili's Building C. And Chili's, there used to be a Chili's there. And Chili's used to be known for parking over there in your car getting broken into. So that area right there of Austin, South Lamar, has always kind of been sketchy. But I hope that maybe Chief Henderson, when she's coming in, is going to...
Unfortunately, it's not the police chief.
I know.
It's the city council. The city council, I would say... This city council, and we talked about this yesterday about not
Austin
being negative,
City Council.
But the Austin City Council is off the rails, and people keep voting for them. Their policies are ridiculous. I just read a story the other day. The new budget that they just passed, which will increase everybody's overall bill between their property taxes and their utility bills because they own Austin Energy, it's going to cost you 7% more next year between those two things. Utility bills and property taxes. $5.5 billion budget, bigger than the city of Dallas, which has, I can't remember the number, but it's like 60% more people than we do. Do you know what the budget for the city of Houston, which is like 5 times our size? Do you know what that budget is? $6.2 billion. Ours is 5.5. And if you look in that budget, it's not reinforcing the police department, building more jails.
Yeah, what is it?
They expanded that program where they pay people's rent. They hired. There's expanding the office for whatever they call it, diversity, equity, inclusivity, or something. They hired some new director for that.
But let's not get more police officers on the streets.
To get rid of the crime, which is, this is, when you get right down to it, it's a technology city, but a big part of what happens in Austin is tourism.
And you're losing conferences. No.
Tourists don't want to come here anymore. Yeah, people with conferences, they don't want to come here anymore.
Absolutely. Well,
yeah, and as far as I can tell, people on city council don't care about.
No. Well,
let's lighten it up.
Okay. Let's talk about. You know what? I have to just stop for a second because I have to say I'm going to compliment you because you did not wear a blue shirt today. I just want to let you know.
Look at me. You've got to come up with some new content.
I do. But
I'm wearing the white shirt with this pearl snaps.
That's not white. That is an oyster colored shirt or a bone colored ecru. So we're going to go over our colors later after the podcast. Too. But congratulations on not wearing a blue shirt today.
Yes, I'll chalk that up as a victory. All right, here's a serious question for you. Am I ugly?
Didn't somebody just say you had a face for radio?
I did. They did. Yes, they did. You know what Reddit is? Uh-huh. So Reddit is a news aggregator and discussion forum where you can post things. Well, this year, the post Am I Ugly is up 1,986%. It's people starting a post, a discussion, and posting pictures of themselves and saying, am I ugly?
Why are you subjecting yourself to that?
Yeah, that was my thought when I heard this is, why would you put yourself out there? Believe it or not, maybe there's hope for humanity. A lot of people have done this, and the people have actually, and for the most part, with some exceptions, the people have mostly been pretty kind.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. There's this, they gave an example of this. This is from a Wall Street Journal article a couple of days ago, but this 23-year-old Ohio resident who shared 8 close-up photos of her freckled face, blue eyes, auburn hair, and nose piercings this summer and asked, am I ugly? And a bunch of users told her things like, she wasn't conventionally attractive. She was uniquely beautiful.
Oh, no, that's nice
Isn't
to
that
say
it?
that.
Yeah.
But then you know what? You could have 20 compliments and one person could
And
say
you'll focus
something.
on the one thing. Like,
Yeah.
hey, where'd you get that nose? That nose looks like you played football when you were in high school.
Yeah, so why would you subject yourself, or why would you freaking care what a stranger thinks about you? You know, like it's kind of the question, like, if you're wearing something and you go, do I look fat in this? And it's like, there's really no right or wrong answer, right?
It's
You're
true.
just like,
It's true.
oh, what am I? No, you don't.
Yeah.
You look, I mean, I don't know, but that's just the way of the world where everybody lives on social media. Like, you know what somebody's eating and not eating, or
I just don't think this stuff is healthy. The other discussion that's up a bunch, that's up 40%, 46% is rate me, meaning, am I a 1 or am I a 10? Which, I mean, it's the same thing. But that old saying, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? And have you ever met somebody and at first you were like, they look okay. But the more you get to know them, their personality, who they are, they actually become more attractive to you
and
as
then
time
also
goes on. So that's not all about their looks. That's like this whole, it's about their whole persona.
the opposite is true also. Somebody who's very good looking and they're just a shit
true.
person.
Yeah.
Right. Although I do have to say that my girlfriend April and I yesterday we were looking at selling our feet, and so we were wondering what kind of feet. Totally a joke. Totally a joke?
Yeah.
But
don't tell us the name of the website, but please, people, don't go look it up because you'll have porn on your phone.
there was actual categories of what I just want to be like socks on my feet, and
Was there runner's feet?
I don't. Oh, but see, you always say runner's feet or ugly feet.
Ingrown. Oh man, my feet are horrible. I have the ugliest feet on the planet.
Maybe we can make some money off of selling Steve's feet just for ugly feet.
I think people will pay online for just about anything. If you build a website and make it look attractive and you say, oh, look, these are people's feet. And these are ugly feet. Look at this bunion. There are sicko people out there that'll pay for that.
Why? Okay, I just don't understand. Maybe I just need a cocktail or something, but I don't understand why someone's feet.
Don't you weep for the world sometimes
I
with
do.
stuff like this?
Yesterday out in our parking lot, we had the new ER that's here. I guess they were testing. Travis County had a helicopter parked over here. And we were sitting there. I was like, is it aliens? Please tell me it's aliens. Come take me. Because I'm always saying, the next apocalypse, whatever it is, take me in the first wave. I am not built for walking across the country.
No, we do fine in the apocalypse.
No.
We have stronger character that they can't just take us out.
Take me in the first round.
No, they can't take us out. Hey, as our show has gotten more and more popular, it's been really interesting getting emails from people, some that suggest other things we should do differently, which we always love. So malletmichelle@gmail.com, but also the people that have sent us praises. It's really wonderful to read those and feel like we're impacting some people's lives. But we want to get more reviews on the platforms that we're on. So one of the best ways for us to show up in more people's feeds on Apple Podcast is for other people to leave a review.
But wait a minute.
5-star review.
So a lot of times, on social media, I will post this podcast and it goes to our website. And so our website doesn't have any really way to capture reviews.
I mean, the two places we get the most listeners are Apple Podcast and Spotify.
So if you listen to podcasts traditionally and you're already in that platform, that would be a please.
Yes, that's what we're asking you
if
today.
you're on our website and you're listening right now, if you know, or give your phone to somebody who does know.
Well, if you look on our website, there's links at the bottom that will take you to Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
I guess I should look at our website.
Yeah, you should. But if you're on Apple Podcast, if you can leave a review, you can also just rate it. There's the star ratings. But if you leave us a review, that just really helps us out. So the listeners that have really appreciated the content that we're creating, that would really help us out if you do that today.
Steve gives me $5 for every $5.
That's right. That's right.
I can allow it.
And she's buying lunch today. So.
Well, considering it's tacos only like $2.75 at Pigpen.
That's true, but at Pigpen, man, they are good. If you haven't had tacos at Pigpen, you got to make a stop there for that.
Yummy. Well, let's get Orit Mann in. And gosh, you're going to love her, Steve.
She seems fascinating. I'm looking forward to talking to her. So let's take a little break and get her in here.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Mallet Integrity Team of real estate professionals. They are based in Dripping Springs and bring you over 45 years of combined experience helping people reach their hill country real estate dreams. When you want the best in town, call them at 512-829-2062 or look them up at malletintegrityteam.com. And now, here's Steve and Michelle.
Welcome back with Orit Mann. How are you, dear?
Good, thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us how you ended up in Dripping Springs.
You've only been here like 2 years?
2 years, July 4th. July 4th, we crossed the Texas border. That was our claim to independence.
That's
I can thank my husband for that. Basically, freedom. I moved here from New Jersey. At the time, we had a 15 and a 17-year-old. And it was a year and a half that they were not going to go back to school. And then the school districts in New Jersey, they're really strong. And they decided that the kids could go back in masks. And my husband was just not having it. And he picked up everything, sold the house, and moved within 2 months. I had a personal training studio, closed it down, decided within 2 months, sold everything.
Wow.
Got in our cars with the dog, the kids, and that was it.
But why here?
Jeez.
Like, what was it? Just like literally, I'm going to point at a map, or was there research involved? Or
there's
was
always
it me?
research.
Did you listen to the podcast?
You.
You said I want to be.
It was you.
Okay, thank you.
So it was calculated. I think for about 6 months, my husband had a master plan to move to Texas, which I would have never moved to. Honestly, being from New Jersey, everyone goes to Florida, and that was the ultimate destination. And he was like, you know what? I just don't trust anything that's going on in this world, this country, anything right now. So we have to be in Texas in case anything huge happens. And that was literally him researching. It was between Liberty Hill, I think it's Liberty Hill,
the
and
north
Dripping
side of Austin.
Yeah. So he came to visit. Checked out both school districts, and apparently Liberty Hill is not as built up as Dripping Springs. And here we are.
Wow. That's a big leap. So did you live your whole life in New Jersey?
So I came to America when I was 6 years old. My parents came on a 10 or 14-day visit, and we never went back.
Where from?
Haifa, Israel.
Really?
Yeah.
So you lived there till you were 6?
6 years old.
And then New Jersey.
And then Lakewood, New Jersey, which is a huge Jewish destination. My parents moved there. And then they decided they were going to stay because there was land of opportunity. And they ended up opening a store. Didn't speak a lick of English.
Really?
And yeah, that's why I love this country. I really
That's
love this
amazing.
country.
When you came here, though, did you come here with your stuff, or did you have to send back for it?
Nothing.
Or how?
And kind of just my parents decided this was it. After 10 or 14 days, they had, my dad ended up getting, I think, a worker's visa at the time. And he ended up being a truck driver for a few months. My mom was a hairdresser, which she was in Israel. And they ended up staying here. And I still remember to this day, my brother and I would sit in the back of a classroom with my parents at night school, because back in the day, people needed to learn English when you came here. And I remember I learned English from sitting in the back of the classroom with a bunch of adults and watching Sesame Street. I still love Sesame Street.
So great. That's so great. How do you feel when you see people like on the news and places like that now saying, oh, you can't make it in this country. All these things are against you. And, here your family came, didn't even speak English, and they've made a success of themselves.
And that's why I love this country, and that's why I respect the people that serve. This is still the greatest land of opportunity, and the people that don't have respect for this country, they should go live somewhere else for a while. That's my ultimate belief. Like, if you don't think you have it made here, then go live somewhere else. My husband has this little comment. He worked with a guy, and the guy said to him, he goes, even like your unemployed homeless people, they're overweight on the streets. He goes, go to other countries. They're living in pure poverty.
That's true. Yeah, what we call poverty here is probably in the upper class in a lot of countries in the world.
What did your family back in Israel think about you guys moving here?
I know my grandmother was devastated,
Yes.
But my parents just wanted to give us a chance. Plus, in Israel, everybody serves their country. So my dad served.
I saw that. I saw your dad was an Israeli Defense Force paratrooper.
He is, and even on his gravestone, it has his IDF and everything. Wow. He loved Israel. My mom still loves Israel, but he loved this country. So that's where a lot of our respect comes for. Like, no matter what happens in this country, it's still the land of opportunity. It's amazing. And the greatest thing that my parents taught me was to love this country, and you add to it. So my brother, who they brought here, my brother and I, and they didn't want us to serve. My brother's chief of police in New Jersey of 3 towns, and he's 50 years old. He's been chief of police for 10 years.
That's very cool.
Yeah, he's had 25 years in. So I think my dad would always say it's in your blood to like love your country and serve this country. And this is my country. I consider America my country.
Wow, that's so great.
I saw when I was doing a little research on you, and I read your father's obituary, I saw that your dad was born in Italy.
He was. So Israel didn't become its own country till 1948. My mom was born in October 1948. My dad in March of 1948. So they didn't migrate until it was officially its own.
Oh,
wow, there's some history there.
So,
that's amazing.
and my mom was born in Germany. So they were always moving like when they were younger. So that's the great thing. Like, they picked Israel, and Israel was their place, and then they moved here.
And so do you have I guess a soft spot for those European countries that do you go back? Have you taken your children back?
So I don't know if it's sad, but I met my husband when I was 18, and he was like, I would never want you to go back, and I haven't. So I don't know if I have I hate to say that I don't have a soft spot for it. I love America. I believe if people want to do better, they should come here, but they have to contribute. You can't just live here without doing something
Sucking
for
off
this
the system.
Yeah, and that's like the whole idea. My son's 19. For the last 19 years, I've owned businesses. My belief is you give back to the community you're in.
Well, you've done an amazing job with this Driftwood Dugout and the Axe House.
Driftwood Axe House and Driftwood Dugout.
What I was saying earlier when we were doing our monologue, I need to get like printouts of Steve's face, and we'll just stick them on there. I'm gonna win this.
So you laugh, but that is an option.
Just
there you go.
We were just given an option. I think it's an obscene amount of money, but you can pay where people can download the pictures from their phone onto the targets. And I'm like, I don't this.
I feel that is like, ooh, that's a little creepy.
That would be interesting to actually post stuff on Instagram, on your Instagram, when people choose whatever pictures they have up there. There'll be celebrities.
Or a divorce party, right?
Yeah.
So that is something we advertise. Don't laugh. We have a lot of corporate events, but I'm like wedding parties, divorce parties.
Divorce parties getting to be a big thing. Wow.
Oh, unfortunately, nowadays divorce parties are getting to be a big thing for sure. What does your husband do, and why?
My husband, he works for Cisco Systems, not the food company, tech company. So it was easy for him to get up and move. He's worked for them on and off. I think this last time it's been 9 years. He worked there previously, went to a competitor, or maybe not a competitor, and then he went back. That's what he loves to do. But he's definitely the man behind me for all my businesses ever.
Well, what I want to know is like, why a bar? Like, you were you're a personal trainer, you're a nutritionist. I mean, you have all of this kind of fitness genre that you've been associated with. You left New Jersey, and now we have the Dugout.
So again, that's my husband. And I have to say that in the funniest way possible. So I think we were 18 years old in New Jersey. We met at Rutgers. And even from the time I was 21, he's like, be a bartender, be a bartender. And I was like, I don't want to put myself in that environment. And then he was constantly like, be a bartender. So got my bartending license. And then here he was like, you really should be a bartender. And, you know, I tried for a year. I had a job in corporate America, and it's just not my thing. Like, I'm 19 years in business. I love people. I love interacting. My biggest drive is how do I give back to my community? And for a year, I couldn't do that. Working for someone else, it's like punching a clock, going in.
You're a cog in the machine. Yeah.
Yeah. And my brain goes at 1 million miles an hour. And I just think like, okay, you know, like something I just found out about, there's a foster village in Fitzhugh. So I will spend like 10 hours like looking through that. And I'm like, how can I contribute? What can I do? And you can't do that unless you own a business.
Yeah.
So that's my bigger picture. Like, what can I give back to Dripping Springs, to Hayes County? Where can I be of service?
That's what this town's built on, people supporting their neighbors and the businesses or the organizations that are here that support other people.
You were telling a funny story about when you, right before we started recording, about when you, the first day one, when you came into Dripping Springs, you dropped your son off at football practice. You didn't know a single soul. You go into the gym at 5:30 in the morning. You had your brother's backpack on, and Anthony Hippolito comes up behind you and pokes you in the back and says, are you a police officer?
Yeah, I have a soft spot for him because he was the first person to say hello to me in this town. So we crossed the border of Texas. We didn't even have a house. We rented an Airbnb for 3 weeks. And I'm like, all right, I got to drop this kid off 5 a.m. at football practice. What do? I go to the gym. I don't know anybody. I walk in, I only have my brother's backpack. It has his like police number, everything. He taps me and he was like, you police officer? And I'm like, who's this guy? Why is he asking me that? I'm not even thinking I have my backpack. And he introduced me to Gary Cutler, and I just felt such a sense of community here because of that. Like, again, I'm not a police officer, but there's a brotherhood, there's respect, just really good people in this community.
And now the honeymoon is kind of, you're through the honeymoon phase of living here in Dripping Springs.
Oh, definitely.
So how does it feel now? So now you're not the new kid anymore, right?
No.
You've been here, and you're not from California.
Nope.
You know, you're from the other coast.
From the other coast.
So do you still feel that camaraderie? And I mean, I think a lot of people complain that have lived here, like, oh, this just isn't the town it used to be. No, nothing is just like it.
It's a lot different, but it's still a great town.
But you know what? Be a part of the process. Be a part of making it better. I think that's what we try to do. Is just like, okay, nothing is the same, right?
So again, that goes back into buying the bar. We signed for the bar in April, did a soft opening. That's where I met you. Anthony actually posted it.
Yes.
And it was just a very soft opening. We put it in our neighborhood page. And then, you know, we just had the people that we knew from our neighborhood. Anthony showed up. That's where I met you. And I just meet great people. Listen, I'm not a nonprofit. Obviously, I want to make money. But at the end of the day, I meet great people. And I believe in my life, like my dad raised me, be a person of purpose. It's not about you, right? Your life is about what you can do for others, how you can contribute. So this has opened up the opportunity for me where, you know, we're obviously going to be at a loss for a whole year. But the people that I meet, if nobody walks through that door for a whole day, but I meet like 2 good people, my day is good. There's opportunity. Great. Life is about opportunity. Who do you meet? What's the next step? How can I be a vessel to use this business to meet great people? So to answer your question, honestly, I've met the greatest people. I don't know if I'd be really happy if I was sitting at home or just trying to make friends with people in my neighborhood. I get excited when I meet somebody who's not in my neighborhood, who's from a different location, who can tell me their stories, and maybe we can collaborate on what we could do for anybody in this town. I met, quick shout out to Rob Ricard. So he heads the Pigskins, and he does so much for the community. So he just called me one day. He's like, can we use the dugout to meet on a monthly basis so we can try to raise money for the boys on the football team?
Oh,
of course.
Cool.
Why not? Well, you know, I want more people to reach out to me. I want to be of service to the community. If I'm paying rent, I might as well give it to others to use.
Yeah. Well, you want to be a place where the community can come together. Yep. I want to know about this axe throwing. I've never done that. Is it dangerous?
No. So that's the biggest misconception. People walk in and they're like, I'm going to hurt myself. I'm like, nope.
Michelle could hurt herself.
I mean, she can hurt you probably.
Probably.
I actually walk and trip in the office. So yeah, it's, I probably could. I'll trip and win the axe.
I hope you have good insurance.
We have very good insurance.
Yeah.
But there's safety precautions. There's somebody in the axe house. They teach you how to throw. It's more fun. My husband came up with the idea from Cisco. He went to a team building event. And that's what we have a lot of. That's more interesting to me too, instead of just people walking off the streets, which is great. Like this Wednesday, we have a local company. They rent out the place 2 hours before we come, and they just have a team building event. And that's the other way I meet great people in this town. I've hosted a lot of private parties for local businesses.
We think we're going to have a team building.
I told him the same exact thing. I want to know, like, what do your New Jersey friends think of this little podunk, dripping Texas town?
Yeah, they think you moved out where the tumbleweeds are and the sand.
I think that's what everyone in New Jersey thinks, first of all.
They're like, Orit's gone crazy.
Including me. You think you're going to leave New Jersey, you're going to sell your house, and you're going to buy this house, and you're going to like make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then there's Dripping Springs.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's not that. But the biggest thing that I love about this town is you have your cowboys. I mean, I'm so grateful for my kids, because I pulled up to school the first day and I'm like, there really are people in pickups. Like New Jersey, no one drives a pickup unless you're in construction. So that was a whole big shift too. And you see these young men and women, and there's so much culture here. I love it. I absolutely love this town, because you can be from California and just fit right in, and you can be from Dripping Springs for the last 100 and so years. And I love that culture. I love seeing that. And one of the greatest things that have met people at the Dugout was I met people that are self-made. I'm more intrigued by people. I'm like, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your life. How did you become who you are, and how do you give back? And I've met the greatest people. I can't tell you. Yeah. And the people you were talking about, small town, how they want to help. I've met some of the greatest people, women. And I actually gave the place for the baseball team to have their like end of the year party. And I'm going to give her a shout out, because she's the most amazing human. Donna Slack was the mom that kind of put everything together. And then one day she's like, I'm going to introduce you to some of my friends. Come with me one day. So selfishly takes me to a few other women. And one of them was Sonia, who you guys, like 2-3 weeks ago, she was on your show.
She was great.
She had her birthday party there last week. Brought about 20 couples.
Axe throwing?
At the Dugout, and we did karaoke.
Oh,
yes,
geez.
I saw on your Facebook page.
And people did throw axes. So it was so much fun. But again, she literally sent me a text out of the blue. She goes, so I know business is slow, so I'm going to invite about 20 couples, and we're going to come to your place. And again, she asked for nothing. And Donna's asked me for nothing. And she introduced me to her friend, Christy Dixon, who now her son works for me. And it's just, look, if you give me an inch, I will give you a mile. That's my rule. Just show me some interest.
I love when people pull together to help out new businesses and places like you. But you have a great personality. You're easy to like. So I can see people getting behind you and wanting you to succeed.
Are there things about New Jersey that you miss? Food? Culture, any type of...
So if you ask my kids, the bagels, the pizza, pork roll. You guys don't know what pork roll is.
No, what's a pork roll?
Taylor ham, pork roll, egg and cheese. Yeah, see, no.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Are there, of the 12 pizza places we have in Austin, are none of them as good as New Jersey pizza?
No.
Why do you think that is?
The water.
See?
Oh, Michelle said that, and I looked at it. Really?
Yeah.
So Home Slice downtown Austin, their whole thing was they used to import their water in
from New Jersey,
New York, something like that. But I don't think they do that anymore. But it was all about the dough.
Yep.
And so I don't know if the dough was made there and they'd bring it in. See, right,
yeah.
Right.
Or who does your marketing for the axe throwing in the Dugout?
Do you mean like social? I post every morning.
Do you? That's you?
I learned how to make reels. Don't laugh at 48 years old. I'm like, let me try to figure this out. And no, I do not follow directions. So I did not read anything.
We don't either.
I don't think there are any rules in that
It's
world.
guerrilla
Oh,
marketing.
my husband gets so mad. He's like, he'll send me something. He's like, read the instruction. I'm like, that's going to be a waste of my time. I'll just start clicking and see what happens.
That's what we do. Yeah, maybe this will work.
That's exactly how I do it. And then I'm like, I tried to go live. I think it was Saturday. And I'm like, the first time was an epic fail. And it went up. And I'm like, oh, well, let me just delete that.
Wow.
One of our coworkers just posted, what did it say? Says. I don't.
That on Facebook.
That's all it says.
Nothing else. It just said
Says. So I think
people are like, what?
Say what?
Say what?
Say what?
So you're
They'll
not the
probably
only
get
one.
1 million comments.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
So I have had people reach out to me, a lot of local, and I will use somebody local because I will just give back. I've had a lot of people reach out to me for marketing, but honestly, we're not in a position where, it's like chicken or the egg, which comes first. We will be putting money into marketing. It's just a matter of I need more pull.
What kind of when you start doing that, what do you think you'll do? Because I would imagine with what you're doing, social media could be huge.
We have we just bought the Sunday NFL package. Like this Friday, we'll show all the Dripping Springs, the Wimberley games. We're going to show all that. Cool. So it's a matter of people just finding out. So again, do you invest in marketing? How do you know it works?
Marketing is like a big black hole sometimes.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm the kind of person I want proof. I'm like, show me what you could do for me. And they're like, give us the money first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but I was thinking about this on social media last week. Like we'll do an Instagram post and Instagram will say, oh, you had 1,900 people watch your video. And I'll be like, how do I really know?
That's me. And my husband will be like, look how good this was. And I'm like, how do you know they're not lying to you? So you'll use it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the negotiator in me?
Maybe of the 1,900, 1,850 of them were some Instagram bot that just played it, who knows? But you were, in your bio, you mentioned about empowering your female friends. How are you doing that?
I think just surrounding myself with really good women. And I have to be honest, I have no time for BS. Like I know off the bat. I know that sounds horrible.
That's why you and Michelle like each other.
And I don't think it sounds horrible, actually. When people are like, I give people a chance. I give everyone a chance. I'll give you 2, 3, 4 chances. I follow my gut. And I have to, again, everything in my life stems from being a mom. Having a 17-year-old, she'll be 17.
Wow.
When's her birthday?
September 18th.
Oh,
That's
right
my baby.
My middle one's going to be 25 Friday.
Wow.
Yeah.
And mine's 28 today.
Today. Yeah. Shocking
Cole's
because
28
I look
today.
like I'm 28. I
There
don't
you
even
go.
Yes, you do, Michelle.
How did that happen?
How is that crazy? I think being a mom is one of the most important jobs in the world. And I think that the people who take that job as parenting as seriously as you do, it just kind of oozes out of your skin because, it's not only caring about your own children, you learn to care about your children's people, your
Their
children's friends. And I always kind of became the mother to everybody.
That's
too.
so
the mother to the motherless.
I said, so I met my husband, like I said, we were in college and he's like, 2 kids, they can't outnumber us. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make a push for 3. And then I was like, what if we adopt? What if we, and he doesn't have it in him. I feel like I can mother the earth. If I could wrap my arms around everybody, like animals included, I would, and I could, and that's my biggest issue. It's not to change them, it's just to give them an experience. And again, this is why I feel I use the business. And I love him so much, but there's like a young kid this morning, I messaged him and he just started working for me and I adore him. And he's one of the women I just mentioned, Christy Dixon's son, Cooper, and he works for me. And that's the other thing. The women that I love, I hire their kids. It's an extension of like, if I love
part
you.
Of being in the community, yeah.
Well, I feel like if I love you and you're a great human being, then you must have raised a great human being. And maybe I can give back or I can teach them and help just nurture them somehow.
Yeah.
I love the opportunity that affords me.
It's a big responsibility. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that your husband is really chill.
My husband is the biggest introvert. We are.
I'm just guessing.
Oh
but-
my Lord. It's so funny. So I've been with him, I think it's going to be 30 years.
David is his
David.
name. Yeah.
I call him Dave, which is so funny because he still introduced himself as David. So I have to learn 30 years later, like he's David. He's Dave. He's the exact opposite of me. He will walk into the bar. There could be like the other day, there was like 40 people. I'm like, did you say hi to so-and-so? He's like, no, didn't even recognize them. Didn't even notice them. He has blinders on. He's like, I needed to fix a light socket. I needed to do this. I need to do that. I'm like, there's karaoke. There's like 50 people in here and you didn't notice. He's like, I was focused.
That's what I would say, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. And he's the reason behind the business is he literally buys. Like when I was pregnant with my son, I knew I wasn't going to go back to work. He showed up. I'm not kidding when I say this. He showed up. He's like, surprise, I bought you a business. And I was like, huh? And then it was, like,
is this the workout studio?
No, first it was the gym we were working out at. Their juice bar was for sale, like protein drink.
Okay.
And he knows I love nutrition. Everything's like, surprise. And I was like, oh my Lord. Like, and then I started going to work with my son and I called it Jacob's Juice Bar because I literally got it when my son was born.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so it's so interesting. He's just that guy. Like he'll be like, you know what you should do? And I'm like, please tell me. Like I trust him. Like even with the move here, like I trust him. He's amazing. He's so opposite of me.
There's a lesson there. Successful marriages, opposites attract.
Yes.
Right?
You know, one of the other things that I seem is very important to you is fitness and
It is.
your
Actually,
health.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're a little bit crazy.
I am.
And I consider myself crazy. So you go ahead, finish your question.
No, I was going to say, what is this running that the
you run for an hour a day on a treadmill.
I do.
And then you lift.
It's mind over matter to me. So my biggest thing, like I said, I was never military, but I listen to Jocko Willink every morning and during the day. Like, so I didn't get to run today, so I know it will get done. It might be, I don't know when, but it will get done. Well, I do know when, but because it has to get done. It's on the list. It's on the list, and I'm an overachiever. So that's when I post. Like I research. I don't ever shut down. My mind is constantly racing. Like I always say, I have an addict's mind. Like I'm like, what can I do better? How can I add? What can I do? So I run at, I know to some people will be like, oh, that's kind of slow. That's kind of fast. I just do 10-minute miles, but I'm posting while I'm on it. I'm researching. Jocko's in the back. I'm listening to his podcast, but I'm still like online. I'll have like my, I'm just researching.
Do you feel like you're getting something out of Jocko's podcast
every day?
I mean, while you're multitasking, that's got to be. I think that's a woman thing.
Yeah.
Men cannot do that. If I have my phone in front of me and I'm listening to a podcast, only one of those things is working. That's it.
Sometimes I do have to like just turn everything off, and I'm like, all right, what's he saying? And I have to absorb it, and like I'll take my notes. If you look at my notes on my phone, like. Just my goal every day is to grow as a human. So
you're running while you're doing all of this.
Yeah.
I have no excuse.
And
no, you don't, Michelle. Well, then you lift after that. Are you going to a gym or do you lift at home?
So in our house where other people like build themselves a casita so they can lay out by their pools, we have a gym. Because this is making you laugh. My husband doesn't want to go to gym. He does not want to be around people. Unless he's going to go for a drink when he comes to the bar and he pours himself a bourbon and he's a happy guy.
Oh, well, nice to have a bar if you like to have your bourbon.
Well, that was one of the things. He's like, I think we need a bar because I'm going through a midlife crisis. I'm like, please let me stop my life and do what you need. So yeah,
I want to stick on the fitness thing. Why do you think that's so important to you to do that?
Because I want to be different. Because I want to push my body. It's just about my mind. Like I truly believe the body achieves what the mind believes. And you hear people all the time in training. When I would train people, like, I can't do it anymore. And my response is, stop lying to yourself. Like, you can do it. You can. I look at people like Michael Phelps. I look at people that are Olympians, and they train every day. What was it? Usain Bolt said he trained for 4 years to run 9 seconds.
Yeah.
And he's like, other people quit when they don't see results after a month.
Yeah.
Like, if I stop, then what? So I always have the fear of then what, right? If I stop, then what? And as long as I can keep pushing, I'm going to keep pushing. And when I tell myself I can't, and I do it anyway. So that was the other thing too. Like when I try to define my own barriers, I don't do it for others. I don't do anything for others. Like I look at social media. I hate social media, but yet I have
You
a
and me
love.
both.
I hate it. And I look at it like, and I see women posting pictures of themselves and what they did this weekend. And I'm like, you're busy. I'm not busy. I have purpose. Like, I don't want to be.
I like that.
Yeah, I have no interest in being busy. I'm going to be 49 in March, and I'm like, all right, this is going to be the year I really need to like make this business successful, because there's so much opportunity to do in this town. Like, there's so much to give back. I already missed out on Foster Village. Apparently that's in September. I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball.
There's always something to do.
There's Patriots Hall. We have some really good nonprofit organizations here.
That's what I need to get into.
It sounds also that you get an endorphin high, a rush off of this.
I was going to ask you that. Why do you feel like you described yourself as a workaholic and you just said overachiever? Why do you think that is?
I don't have any other vices, I guess. Like, I'm not like the kind of person where people are like, oh, have a drink to relax. I'm like, I don't want to relax. Like, I want to keep moving, like keep moving forward. Life is short.
Do you feel like if you slow down, something will catch up with you? And the reason I'm asking this, because I have these same, like, I ran 10 miles on Saturday with some friends, and it's hot and it's humid, and you know, your legs hurt. And I'm like, I'm 60 years old. I'm like, why is this still important to me? So I'm asking you, why is this still important to you?
Because I can. So my dad, I look at my dad. My dad was probably one of the greatest men and you would have ever met, but you wouldn't know. Like, you would just not know. He was a commoner and he owned a deli. Like, that's what he did with his life. He owned a deli, but he brought happiness to people. When we had his, I guess it's different because we're Jewish, but, you know, it wasn't a viewing. But when we actually had his funeral, it was standing room only with over 500 people. And they gave him, like, even though he didn't serve in this country, my brother made sure he had a military send off.
Wow.
They closed off the streets. And my dad had purpose. My dad changed people's lives. My favorite story is like the year before my dad passed away, we showed up for, I think it was Passover, and we opened my mom's door, and I'm like, who's this man that just opened the door? And my dad was like, I don't know, it was a temple, and it was a guy that needed a place to go, so he's here. And I'm like, do we know him? Is he going to rob us? What's going on? And my dad's like, nope, he just needed a place. And like, that was just, my dad exuded that. And he was just that person that just taught me, like, don't judge. And I feel like when people put it out there, again, with social media, look at me, look at what I did this week. And look at, I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I actually am so turned off by that. I want to change people's lives. I want to change dogs' lives. I want to change, so I don't slow down because there's too much to accomplish and people don't do it. And I feel like I'm scared that my time will run out. Like, my dad would always say to me too, he's like, wait till we're older and we'll vacation together and we'll do this. And he didn't get to do any of that.
Ran out of time.
And towards the end of his life, my dad suffered a lot for 2 years. He was an amputee, so he couldn't run. So honestly, to answer your question, on the days that I'm like, I don't want to run, I think back to like Jocko and my dad, and like, it's a privilege to run. Like, God gave me 2 legs. I'm going to run. Like, I'm going to run for the people that can't run. I'm going to do this because I can. So that's the most important thing to me, to like, stop listening to my own BS.
Yeah.
Because in my head's a very dangerous
The time
place.
running out thing, the time running out thing is huge to me too. Like, every day I work out, I think, okay, I'm just blessed that I could do this one more day, because I have friends that can't do it anymore.
It's because I'm slowly poisoning you with antifreeze in your water.
That's it. Visine,
Some days I wonder if
antifreeze.
that's slow or not. I'm like, I take my drink. I think this is 100% antifreeze.
This
Fluoride.
tastes funny. This tastes really funny. Your energy is so infectious. Just like, wow, you walk into a room and people gravitate towards you. Do any one of your kids, do they have the same type of personality or energy?
My daughter is me on crack.
Oh gosh.
What?
So I adore my kids. If there's one thing I did right, it's married the right guy and parent well.
Yes.
And I've made 5 million mistakes. I'll tell you that. My husband keeps me straight. My kids moving here taught me that you could do anything. You really just have to overcome your fears. And I have 1,000,001 fears. That's the other thing. Feel the fear and do it anyway is my biggest motto. Like, that just, I tell myself that.
There you go. Title.
But she walked into a school. So how old was she when she showed up here?
So my son was a senior, knew nobody, and walked in. She was a sophomore, 14.
Got to be hard.
14. So they're each a year younger, because in New Jersey they started earlier and they have summer birthdays. Didn't know anybody.
And she's again, the young one.
She's a baby, and she was like the captain of the cheerleaders in New Jersey. She comes here. She's like, I'm not going to cheer anymore. I'm like, okay, what are you going to do? Fast forward 3. She's in her 3rd year of welding. She's going to show at the state fair this year. She's the FFA president.
Wow.
Oh my God, you talk about
Jersey
like
girl.
It's just a flip.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, to not take away from my son, he's his second year at A&M.
How any more Texas can you get? But
That's
a
my
Jersey
point.
kid
Been
coming
here
to
2
A&M.
years.
Yeah,
you
and
guys
he pledged his fraternity, Delta, and he loves it. He's found his group, and he's just like my husband. He's so quiet. If he came in the room, he would nod at you, shake your hand, and walk out. My daughter would be like, "So what do you guys do? How do you do it?" She'd be a great interviewer.
It's amazing how the kids, same parents, and the personalities are so different. My kids are the same, and every time I look at them, I'm like, God, how do they turn out so different?
I think that's the best gift about being a parent is how your children grow up to be better versions of what you are. You hope.
They're
right?
a million
You
times
hope.
better than me. My kids are a million times better than me. And again, so something that you brought up, you're like, oh, your energy's infectious. I always think when I walk in a room, like I like to walk in alone. Like, you know how women like to come in groups? I like to walk in alone. I like to read the room. But here's the other part that always makes me laugh. When people are like, if you ask me, I'm like, I'm boring. I don't care. I don't want attention. I don't need attention. I don't like attention, which is so funny because if you look at me, if it's shiny and fake, I'll wear it. Like that's my.
That is interesting.
Yeah, I do it for me. It's like my running. I do it for me. My makeup. I love fake, cheap makeup. I just like. I do everything for me.
That's what it matters most.
That's why,
right?
you hear women dress for other women. I'm like, I don't care. As long as you're comfortable and happy, I don't care. And that's what I teach my kids. Like, live your life for you because life is short. I'm not here to impress anyone. I look at there's 8.1 billion people on this earth. I don't need you to like me. Like, I need to find fulfillment.
I think Steve.
I was going to say, it's funny because we did our monologue before you came in and we were talking about Reddit and people posting, "Am I ugly?" on Reddit. And we were just talking about that. And the world now thinks they care about what strangers think about them. And it's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So my best friend in Jersey, you asked me, my friend Jen, I love her. Every morning, she's my first morning text. Doesn't matter if it's 5 a.m. or what. It's like, hey. Every morning. We'll text all day before I came here. Like, no one else knows I'm doing this. Because, again, I'll just rather do it and post it. I text her and she's like, "You got this." I'm like, "I do." We love each other. She's the exact opposite. She lives her life for her. She raised her kids. She's like, "I never wanted to work. I never wanted to do this." She's like, she's the exact opposite of me. She goes, "I live every day for me. I don't care about anything or anything." She's like, "I don't want to contribute to the world." So me and her feed off of one another, which is so funny because you want to surround yourself with successful, happy people. What she brings to me is she's found her inner peace. I'm still looking.
She's grounded.
That's huge.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's so hard for people to find now.
It is. So I don't look for it externally, but I want to, I do still want to change the world, and I change it through my kids. My kids are my greatest accomplishment. You said that.
Yeah.
I love my kids. They teach me stuff every day. And I hate when people go, "Kids are resilient." No, they're not. They're little human beings. You just have to raise them well. They're not resilient. They're just like us. We can learn a lot from them. But again, with the women, trying to find good women, I look at the women that I meet, it could be day to day, and I'm like, do I want my daughter to accept this person as a friend?
That's
and
good.
that's how I decide.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, owning the bar, this woman walked in Sunday and she was just so cool. My husband and I were talking to her and her husband, and I looked at him, I was like, "Can I have your number?" And she was like, "Sure." And end up find out she lives about 5 minutes from me. I'm like, "I'm going to text you because I want you to be my friend." I have no fear of that. I have no fear.
Again, I can tell why you and Michelle are friends. Orit, at some point, you're going to slow down. It's just inevitable. I know you probably think that's not going to happen. What is it? Thinking about that happening, how does that make you feel?
Die first, then quit.
Really?
Oh.
So you're gonna be the 90-year-old lady in the senior living place that's setting up.
She's going to be running the bingo and the swim.
7 days a week.
Yes, I'm doing the workouts. And
I was when I was in California this weekend with my kid. My daughter-in-law works nights. My son has crazy military schedule, so his schedule changes all the time. These healthy 20-something-year-olds nap more than anybody I've ever met in my entire life. And they're like, "Aren't you tired?" I'm like, "I'll sleep when I'm dead.
That's what
I'm
my dad
here
used to say.
to visit. I want to go experience and see." And so they're out there taking
How much
their
time
little
do
nap.
they spend on their phones?
They actually yelled at me and said I spend more time on my phone.
Well, you're working.
But
Don't judge.
I was TikToking.
She's on TikTok.
But I went out and I walked their dog in the park and stuff like that. But yeah,
How many homeless people did you step over?
Actually,
California.
I didn't step on any homeless people, but I heard some in the bushes.
Oh my God. Even worse.
I heard some in the bushes.
But
for sure.
to honestly answer your question, my goal in life again is I would love if my kids allowed me, I don't want to raise my grandchildren, to be that very active, grandparent that can help if they choose to let me help. It's not my decision. Because I want to help raise the next great generation of people that know that there's stuff to do. But the goal with this business is to make enough money so I can buy another business and buy another business. And I'd like to buy property and I'd like to give back. So of course I'm going to slow down. I get it. I do believe you. But I'm never going to, you're not going to find me on some beach just hanging out. I do love Turks and Caicos.
That with you.
No, I do love Turks and Caicos. I do love like Jamaica, but even when I'm away, it would be to be with my family. It would be to be with my husband, my kids, and work on how can you make that community greater. Like when we went to Jamaica, I think I spent 5 hours one day just talking to the locals because I'm like, tell me about your culture. What is it? Like, how can we help you? I think life
your
is...
mind, the little mice that are in your mind right now that are just...
I was just thinking that. You think my brain goes, my brain doesn't go near as fast as yours. I think about little stuff all the time.
I have my issues. I never said I did.
Everybody has their issues.
Though. It's great though. We need somebody like that is just constantly thinking, constantly learning, constantly going.
Well, there's too many people that just find their little comfort zone in life and then they just want to stay there.
I don't ever want to stay in comfort zone.
Yeah, but people like you, if they see you, they can go, you know what, maybe I need to push myself a little bit too.
Yeah.
So I think it's, if you've ever read about addictions, like it's like they say it's a program of attraction. I feel like when people meet me, it's so funny when you say you're infectious energy. I've met people and like I know they don't like me and I'm okay with that. And I'm like, you can't add to my value. Like I just think of that. Like there's value in life. Like if you can't add to me, I'm not offended that I aggravate you, annoy you. I don't care what it is that I do to you. Like if I make you think too much, and when you say maybe somebody will look at you and be like, no, you're exhausting. That's what I've gotten that before.
But
you're
that
exhausting.
Goes back. The reason they say that though is because they found their comfort place,
right?
And they just want to stay there, and you push them to think of other things. And I think that's great.
If someone doesn't like me, I double down.
Yeah, you do.
I'll like walk away. I'm like, you are so not worth my energy, like my time. That's the other thing. Like you talk about life is short. I keep thinking about this. I'm, going to be 49. Like I've lived more of my life than I have to live. And I want it to be for my kids, my husband, my future grandchildren, all the dogs I can save. We'll just throw that in there. I'm looking for any organization.
I think I know what your next business is. You're going to have some kind of dog.
Anything.
Dog.
My husband would kill me, but I'm just putting this out there. Any dog organization that wants to reach out to me, I'll help you like collect money.
Can we do like a puppy party?
Puppies
and axes. That'd be perfect. What could go wrong?
My gosh,
just
what could go wrong?
Bring food, and then
and puppies. I want all the puppies. I want all the puppies.
You guys are getting out of control over there. Orit, you mentioned in your bio that you are fluent in Hebrew.
I am.
Was that because your folks, I guess you grew up there to age 6. Did your folks still speak Hebrew around
Absolutely.
the house?
That's all we speak. I call my mom every morning, although I told her I'll call her after this. I speak to her in Hebrew.
Really?
That's important to me. Yeah.
And do your children speak it?
No, and I wish they did. And my mom helped raise, my dad helped raise my kids when they were younger, and they remembered it, but then they didn't use it, so they lost it. And another thing about immigrants, I'm going to circle back to the beginning. So something that's really important to me is I look at people struggling to speak in this country. As long as you make the effort, I'm proud of you. I'll be anyone's biggest supporter. My mom sounds like she's off the boat and with her thick accent, but she can speak to you. You would understand everything she says. She's awesome. My dad was awesome. And I wish, I remember thinking back like 20 years ago, God, why do they still speak like broken English? And then I remembered like, this was basically my dad's like 5th language, and then I think of like, I'm going to bring this up, but I think when people put down like Melania Trump, I'm like, how many languages do you speak? And I'm a big believer in that. Like, you can't put somebody down who's trying. And if they came here to make this world a better place for their families and they're trying and they're struggling, like, give them a chance.
Yeah.
But I do believe if you come here, you should learn our language, love this country, contribute to it, but give everybody a chance.
Yeah. No, I'm a big believer in that. I think everybody deserves a chance. I think you're right. I think the ones that come here that want to suck off the system or want to change it to something that isn't good for the country, that drives me nuts.
You know,
Me too.
the fact that you're Jewish and you speak Hebrew, is there a niche community here in Central Texas, or have you found
No.
people who are
Well, I'm not looking for it. So that's the other part of me that I always say, like I just said about a program of attraction, I don't look at my religion as the only religion. I was raised, my dad is very religious, and he was like, we're the chosen people. And my brother to this day goes to temple in the morning being like chief of police. He loves his religion.
Really?
He married, I think she's Catholic, a Catholic woman. She loves her religion. I don't look for it. I never got my kids bar and bat mitzvahed. I want them to love everyone and give everyone a chance. I don't think I have to celebrate my holidays to make myself Jewish. Like, I really do believe more of like, love everyone, let everyone be, unless they're hurting others. So that's more of my attraction.
You
like,
have more
I'm very
of a
open.
worldly view
Very.
of this too, and that's
Very.
I mean, that could be healthy. I think the way religion, just organized religion in general, has kind of gone down this track of almost. I don't know. It just doesn't seem healthy to me anymore. I have come away from the mega churches where I was super uber involved in with my kids, and I just not getting filled in that sense anymore. I want to go back to the Southern Baptist hymnal.
Yeah, it starts to get real divisive. I think that's where, when you start dividing people into all these little small groups, that's not good. We're all Americans.
My daughter's never been to temple. My
really?
son's never thought about it. Never. She's been to church here about 6 or 7 times with friends.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm very
she's finding
open.
her own path too, right?
That's the thing. I'm very open. I let my kids, I'm like, as long as you love and respect everybody, that's more important to me. And that was something that I always had. I can have debates on anything with anyone because I'm open to it. So I would debate my dad all the time because he's like, we're the chosen people. This is the only one right way. And I was like, why? So I want my kids to challenge all the whys. And that's why we're in Texas, because we refuse to comply in New Jersey. And I refuse. You cannot make me do something. Everything is an opportunity to question. I respect authority. I respect the law. But I will not comply just because you tell me to comply, or we will be in another Holocaust.
So did you see that there's some news stories now starting to come out that they might be trying to lock things down?
Not might.
Again?
This morning, I think it was Atlanta.
College.
Atlanta.
Yep.
They're doing it
Yep,
already?
they're doing
Atlanta.
it, and they're tracing and they're testing, and it
They
just came out
started this morning. Yeah.
And
shut the hell up.
TSA is going to start. They're looking at starting to try it again.
So here's the thing.
Yep.
Most people see the fact that you knew that. I knew that first thing in the morning. Most people bury their head in the sand. If you ask them this in 6 months, they won't even know. Like, I'm very aware. I make myself aware. I make my kids aware. My husband sent that to us this morning by like 8 a.m. I'm very aware. Again, it's about compliance. Like, I don't have to do anything. You can't make me do it. so
is
that is why we're friends.
Yes.
Right
Yeah,
there.
well, I just, I wonder how many, the number of people that lined up to have their life restricted during this last one actually scared me. More than half this country was like, yep, tell me what to do, sign me up.
So when you ask about my friends in New Jersey, so I walked away. I walked away, and the way I look at life, and this is what I teach my kids, there's a difference between walking away from your problems, and there's a difference between walking away and knowing when you're done. It's like relationships, right?
Yeah.
I've only had my husbands. I teach my kids to try to have healthy relationships. I have it with friendships with women. I know when to walk away. You didn't have to do anything bad to me. I'm just not fulfilled, and I will walk away. New Jersey was not a place where we could prosper. And the friends that chose to stay, I actually had a lot of backlash at the end where people were like, I can't believe you're leaving me behind. You're free to go. Yeah. You're free to go. This is America. You're free to move wherever. You're making the choice to stay.
That's true.
You're not a victim in life, right?
That
You're
happens
not.
a lot, though. People feel like they're stuck, and they're not stuck.
Yeah.
They're only stuck because they feel like they're stuck.
Right.
You always have choices.
So it's I can't leave because. Well, I could have said the same thing. I had a business. My son was a senior. My daughter, my mom's there. My brother's there. I made the choice, and there's consequences to actions and inactions. So that's why I'm here. Again, that's why I'm here, and that's why I keep moving forward.
If this plays out anything like it played out last time, I don't know. I can't see it playing out like that again. I think there's too many people that say, no, I'm not doing it.
That's what my son told me. No, I'm not shutting down my business. I am not shutting down my business. I am not going to wear a mask to go into a grocery store when it has been proven it's not working. I'm not going to comply.
Yeah. But so this goes back to the whole fear thing. When I said to you, fear, I have my own acronyms of fear, F everything.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And like you move on or face everything. Like I believe you can't run away. So it goes back again to what I just said to you. When people are like, you're running away from your problems. I'm not running away. I teach my kids too. I've failed so many times in my life. My husband always says this, fail quickly, fail quicker. Like realize when you fail, like make that decision and then go, what could I have learned from that? How can I move forward? So it's not about not failing. It's about failing and failing quickly and moving on.
Well, and we use the word fail, but a lot of times that turns into growth. If you have the right mindset, something doesn't go your way, and then you step back from it and you go, well, how could I do that differently next time to get a better outcome? Well, that's growth. That's not failure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually said that to somebody they asked me this week, and they're like, so the Dugout is a separate business than the Axe House, but they're together. And I'm like, well, it's two separate LLCs. I was like, what if one of them isn't successful? And they're like, wait, what? Like, why would you even think that? I go, I'm not, but you like fail to plan to fail. Yeah. Like you always have a plan, right? What if it's not? Right. What if something happens and so I shut down one, I continue with the other, but I'm not going to go, well, now I'm a victim, that didn't work. All right, move on quicker.
That victim thing is terrible for this country. There's too many people with that victimhood mentality. You always have a choice to do something better. Always.
Yeah. I totally agree.
This was really fun, Orit. I wasn't sure.
Steve's going to need a nap after this. He's going to need a nap.
Do you want to go for a run?
Yeah, I'll go with you. Yeah. You probably run me into the ground. No, I mean, seriously, you're an amazing, super interesting person.
Thank you.
I want to be your friend. So.
In my boring little world, I'm an interesting person.
We are very lucky to have you. Somebody like you that just comes to our little town and our little community. And contributes. And is contributing.
We want more people
You're
like
not
you.
just sitting here griping about all the change. Be a part of the change. Be a part of the responsible growth. I've said that over and over and over again. And you are. You're plugging yourself in from day one. You started plugging yourself into the community.
And you're a solution. You're not a problem that needs to be fixed.
She's three
you're
solutions.
Yeah, or more. You're the solution person. Yeah.
And a real big, just a big plug for all of anyone who serves, has served, will serve, civil servants. I'm talking about police, fire. We offer $10 off at the Axe House to anyone and their families. And if you follow us on social media, we will do stuff for them all the time because it's so important.
That. Can you tell everybody where to find you?
We are on, if people are familiar, I didn't know where Driftwood was, off of FM 150. And if you follow us on social media, I post daily.
Okay. Is it down?
On the left-hand side.
Kind of as you're heading towards where the Driftwood Country Club is at 150 and...
Before the golf course. I'm like a 1.5 miles before Salt Lake. So if you've been to Salt Lake, it's exactly at the curve. And there's a big... There's a big sign, and we're in the back. So they're
in the back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we're going to go throw some axes.
At each other.
For sure.
Yeah.
At each other.
and we're going to wear closed-toed shoes, Michelle.
That's right.
And drink alcohol while we're doing it.
That's right.
Sounds heavenly. Well, Orit, thank you very much for coming. I really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. And maybe we'll visit with you again one day.
I hope so.
This show has been brought to you in part by the real estate pros at the Mallet Integrity Team. When you're looking to buy or sell, you need them on your side. Why settle for less when you can have real estate done right? Give them a call at 512-829-2062 or get more info at malletintegrityteam.com.
You know you like us, so go now to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave us a review. Why don't ya? We love your feedback and comments. Email us at malletandmichelle@gmail.com.
Thanks for putting up with us.